Welcome to PlayPianoToday.com. This video is an overview of salsa for piano and keyboard, Chapter 2. Welcome. In this video, we're going to do a quick overview and look at a few video excerpts from the piano lesson series titled Salsa for Piano and Keyboard, Volume 2. Lots of south of the border spice in here today. You're going to have a great time. We're going to look at a few things that are going to increase your ability to bring this style of music to the keyboard. For the left hand, we're going to look at a powerful foundational technique called the walking bass. Underneath everything else that's going on, this left hand walking bass gives us solid support. The second thing we'll study is right hand soloing techniques. How to develop a solo. Now you probably have wondered all your life, how do I develop solo lines on the keyboard? Do you have to be born with some strange ability? Well, you do have to be musical. But there are some specific tips and tricks that I'm going to give you that will give you ideas to develop solo lines. And these will be jumping off points that you can then develop your own solo lines with. Lots of stuff to study. Let's get going. First off, let me play for you up to speed the video that shows the song that has all these techniques in it. Lots of things happening here and it's really cooking. It's kind of a samba beat at about 110 beats a minute. Don't worry, before the lesson is over, we're going to go through the whole song in slow motion, up close video so you'll see everything that's going on. All this material will help you get way down the road as you're learning to bring the south of the border spice to the keyboard. Here's that video.
All day long, floating on the water. All day long, floating on the sea. But it's alright, it's alright with me.
Get ready. Now, right off the bat, you may have noticed that the chord structure that we're playing these chords over is a little different from Salsa Volume 1. I'm throwing something new at you. I'm throwing an alternate turnaround. Look towards the bottom of the screen there. You'll see those 12-bar blues don't look quite like they did in Salsa Volume 1. There's an E flat. See that? Okay. Root 5, 3, 7, 9, right? Remember from Salsa Volume 1, if the 7th is present, you've got to call this note the 9th. You can't call it the 2nd, right? And then we go to a D7, sharp 9. That's from the blues chorus. Okay, and then it goes back to the original. G7 plus 5. And we studied that at the very beginning of Salsa Volume 1. So that's the different chord structure that we're going to use in this lesson. In this next section, we're going to look at a video excerpt from the lesson where we're using passing tones in the creation of a left-hand walking bass. Now, passing tones belong to that wonderful category of things in life that actually have a name that sound like what they do. It's always convenient. Passing tones are derived from notes that are not necessarily in the chord that you're currently playing. What do you mean by that? Well, we're going from C to F, right? And the notes of C, that's C minor 9, right? Ooh, that's pretty muddy down there, but those are the notes. Now, I could play a line going from C to F if I'm not going to do the pogo stick bass line. If I'm going to do notes that are in C minor 9, I could do something like this. Right? And that would sound okay. Sounds all right. After a while, it gets a little boring because it becomes predictable. So watch this. Here's another alternate. Now that F sharp definitely does not belong in the family of C minor 9, right? But why does it work? Here's why, and I've said this before in lessons. The strongest thing we have in music is... Here's an excerpt where we're still studying the left-hand bass line. This is something that really brings the music alive. We'll be studying how to use something called the rhythmic kicker in the creation of a fat and furious bass line. The rhythmic kicker. This is a simple little goodie that just gives a little extra kick. Watch for notes that are very short and placed right ahead of some of the walking bass notes. Listen to this. You hear those little kicker notes? Or those guys really serve to kick the rhythm along. It's kind of a subtle technique, but very effective. Now to come up with the notes for the rhythmic kickers, we're going to move ahead in the lesson now. Specifically, we're going to be studying the right hand and something that everybody wants to know about, how to create a solo. Check it out. Now in Salsa Volume 1, we looked at a little bit of right hand techniques. We looked at moving in sixth. Remember that? That was a great technique. In fact, you'll see that show up in the right hand when it's soloing in the main song that we use in this lesson. Let's start out by playing that entire solo a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in the full lesson, of course, we go through the entire song in slow motion. But since this is an overview, let's jump ahead. In this next section, we're studying a really important foundation of salsa music, the underlying pulse. Now in Volume 1 of this salsa course, we talked about how blues music and Latin music have different underlying pulses. Blues music swings because it has an underlying pulse of 3, and Latin music has an underlying pulse of 4. Now, just to recap, let me show you how the blues has an underlying pulse of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. See how it's swinging? Okay, now let's straighten the pulse out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. All of a sudden you have a Latin feel. And then you can throw in some signature Latin things like rocking the chords back and forth like we studied in Volume 1. But you know what? That's just icing on the cake. It's that underlying pulse of 4. Just a subtle thing like that. This has been a very quick overview of the piano lesson titled Salsa for Piano and Keyboard, Chapter 2. If you'd like to see more, go to playpianotoday.com. In this website, there's a wealth of online piano and keyboard lessons that you can dig into right away, including this lesson.